Hey, I think it's great that you want to learn more about mission trips in Jamaica. I'm Dr. Donna Glow. I'm a nurse with a passion for the people of Falmouth, Jamaica. This is the Falmouth Medical Clinic. As you can see, I have one of the cutest babies ever. I'm standing in the waiting room in the clinic. There are patients in the background, a map of Jamaica, and Dr. Carpenter, the founder of the clinic. For this presentation, there are three brief objectives. Describe the purpose of the Jamaican mission trip, view a little bit of the city of Falmouth, and discuss the necessity of the Jamaica mission. Jamaica is the largest of the West India Islands. It has an area of 4.4 square miles, about three times the size of Rhode Island. And as you can see on the slide, the location is between Cuba and Colombia, South America. Jamaica is a member of the British Commonwealth, but obtained its independence in the early 60s. There's usually two political parties, an elected parliament and prime minister. Falmouth is located on the North Shore along the Queens Highway, but is one of the poorest towns in Jamaica, although the architecture is Georgian and very, very nice. The streets are paved but narrow. There are sidewalks in some places, but as you can see, the streets have to be shared by walking people, goats, dogs, and cats. Although there are businesses in the buildings along the water square, there are numerous street vendors. One of the most popular stops for the Jamaicans is the sugarcane and fruit vendor. This is the marketplace. It is away from the square, and the vendors come once a week from all over the island to sell their products. This is not market. This is one of the vendors on market day. Note that his cart's on wheels and there's a cooler to keep things fresh. The tarp or the roofs to keep the sun off the products and the people shopping. The marketplace is hot and there's very little air movement. The average temperature in Jamaica is 85 degrees and the humidity is 85%. And you can see the vendor sitting there to the right beside the sugarcane. Getting started. Well, the bus got started in Joplin. It traveled to Springfield, which is about 90 miles away, and then on to Marshfield for lunch, picking up team members along the way. After lunch, the bus would start, but it wouldn't move. And then you couldn't turn it off. Well, we had to figure out how to get to St. Louis. There was a team of 24 with luggage, and each person had two boxes of supplies to get to St. Louis. So there was a gentleman from one of the local churches who stopped and said, what's your problem? Is there something I can do to help? And he actually drove the bus for his church. And so he called and got permission to use the bus, and he drove us to St. Louis to the hotel so that we could get to the airport the next day. He was going to return to Marshfield, getting home between 2 and 3 a.m., but getting up to teach early Sunday school the next day. Oh, here we go, Montego Bay. Yay, we're almost there. We fly over the bay to land on the airport, then load the trucks and get on a bus to travel to Falmouth along the Queens Highway. The Caribbean coming into Jamaica is always such a beautiful color. Here's one of the team members standing outside our hostel, of course, with one of the Jamaican children. The lower level is a dining meeting room with a stage, kitchen, and laundry facilities. The upstairs are dorm-like rooms with double occupancy and communal showers. There's no air conditioning, but there are fans in every room. There is hot water and good water pressure, thanks to one of the construction teams who made improvements when they were here. These are three of the Jamaicans who are extremely valuable to the medical teams. The one on the left is Frances. She cleans the clinic, emptying the trash, and brings the laundry over to Ruth each day after we finish seeing patients. In the center is Ruth. She is the chief cook and laundry queen. She comes each day about 6 a.m. to assist the teams in cooking the meals and does the laundry, which she hangs outside to dry. The guy on the right is Uriah. He is a jack of all trades and driver extraordinaire. He helps with anything and everything from shopping to construction to taking us to local events. He and Ruth have been helping the team since this effort began in the late 1980s. The Falmouth Medical Clinic was founded by Dr. Wally Carpenter and his nurse wife, Diana. You saw his picture on the wall of the clinic on the first slide. They owned a sugar plantation on the island and got acquainted with the health minister. He's a family care physician and was concerned about the lack of health care for the people around Falmouth. So the Minister of Health says, well, do something about it. And so in 1991, they broke ground on the Falmouth Medical Clinic, with Uriah placing the first block at the age of 19. Word spread around the U.S. by word of mouth, and over the years there have been multiple grassroots teams which staff the clinic periodically throughout the year. Currently there are about 16 teams that provide clinic coverage, and I coordinate the communication between the teams. The clinic is only open when there's a team in Falmouth. Patients are seen for a small fee, usually it's $1 or $2 US, to establish a docket or a chart. And this money pays for the electricity with some of the paper, but no one is turned away just because they can't afford a docket. That is the only fee that the patients have to pay. Let's step back a minute or two and talk about the availability of health care in Jamaica. About 5 or so years ago, a prime minister was elected who had promised in his campaign free health care to everyone. This was great, but the infrastructure still needed to be established and continuous feeding of supplies into the infrastructure. Medications were also free, but only if they were available. If not, they had to be purchased at some of the local pharmacies, and it's very expensive. Still, there's long waiting lines for care in the hospitals or in the emergency room. Primary care is available in the public health clinics with nurses and midwives, and the physician makes a weekly stop into the clinics to see patients. The next 3 slides are pictures of patients waiting to be seen. The patients come each morning, pay for their docket, and have their name placed on the list. Oftentimes, patients walk many miles to come and arrive at the clinic at 6 a.m. They then sit on the porch to wait for their turn to be seen. This couple is waiting to be seen. As you can see, this is an important day. They will be seen at the clinic. They are dressed in their very best clothes to come. Absolutely nothing cuter or more rewarding than providing care for children. The girl is in her school uniform. As you can see, they are well dressed and well cared for. Children are highly valued in Jamaica, and most of them are very well cared for. A group of school children in their uniforms. They came by on their lunch hour to check us out at one of the clinics and play with us. Here's the clinic pharmacy. Each team brings supplies and medications for the patient. Enough medication is given to the patient, provided that we have it until the next team arrives. Medications are prescribed, filled, and education for the medications provided by the teams for the Jamaicans. Jamaicans are very family oriented and care for their own sick and elderly family members. But not everyone has family to care for them. The infirmary was established to care for those who have no one. It's an open-air ward-type facility. It sits right on the North Shore, which creates a wonderful breeze for the residents, and the government does supply some help for the infirmary. These are some of the residents and the eating area. The residents gather for meals and activities during the day in this area. There's very little lighting, and so they arise at dawn and retire at dark. Oftentimes they are bathed more than once a day as it is so hot and humid. They love to sing and are generally very happy and well cared for. We provide assessments and care for them as we can. The clinic is open about 4.5 days a week. The team often takes an afternoon off during the week, oftentimes it's Wednesday, and come so that we have one weekend day that can be devoted to fun. This is one of the teams at Discovery Bay. Discovery Bay is where Christopher Columbus landed and discovered the island. Another day that we do during the weekend is often go to Dunn's River Falls. This is a freshwater falls that's a nice climb, as you can see in the rocks behind the people on the in the photo. And there is also a beach on the North Shore. Now this is a freshwater fall, so the water is very, very cold. But on the beach, the water in the Caribbean Sea is very, very warm. This is part of the way up the falls. It's a nice flat area to rest a little bit before you climb the rest of the way up. Are you ready to go to Jamaica with us?